All right, hi. So nice to see everybody. Sit on some level of elevation, hips, bolster, blankets, few inches. Cross your shins, one in front of the other. And unlike Tristan, put your feet underneath each knee. So your thighs get elevated. Flex the feet, press the hands in your thighs, lift the chest up. Exhale, drop your shoulders, keep the lift of the chest. Move your head back. Press your hands down again, lift your chest up. Take a nice deep breath in. As you exhale, stretch your back ribs towards each other, your side ribs forward, your front ribs up. Drop your shoulders. Try not to bring your head neck down when you do this, because that would just be shortening your cervical spine of your neck into your upper back. Let the eyes close. There's an old saying, I don't know how really old it is or who actually said it. I've heard different accounts that there are 8 stories in life, and we're just telling them over and over and over. But no matter how long I've heard that, and I can see the truth of it, on the yoga mat or from the practice of yoga or other moments in my life, and I think everyone else can connect these, there are these aha moments of realization. These ideas or thoughts or feelings or things that can feel so profound to us that we feel like we've unlocked some secret to our life or to the world. But then, you read a book, you do a little research, and you figure it out, like someone had said this a dozen times already and things like that. It does not make it any less profound. It does not make it any less important. Because remember, my friends, the life that we live is our own. We're not here to live the life of the world. We're not here to necessarily always come up with the next big thing for the world. We're here to live this life in this body, the family that we have, and the people around us. So don't worry if you have a thought that comes to you that feels super big and important. Don't let that immediately go to, well, someone else already had to think about it. It doesn't matter. Your feelings, your own truths are powerful. They're profound. And just because someone said it some way before doesn't mean how you say it doesn't matter more now. Because our language changes. Where we are in the world changes. What you said might bring back a piece of wisdom or bring up a piece of wisdom that's incredibly important in the moment. So my friends, as you go through this time on the mat, let the things that come to you truly be just yours. Don't owe them to anyone else or to anything. Let it be the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th new story of the world. And even though it may share similarities to stories told by others, let it not be the idea that you're just rehashing old ground or you're behind anyone else, but that you didn't find something big. Let it remind you that we're all going through similar things. We all have suffering, we all have joy, we all have shame and embarrassment and loss, surprise. Let us learn through the art of yoga, through the practice, to have these moments gracefully and with deep thought and the willingness to ultimately share them. Because one person cannot carry all the stories of our lives. They're divided out amongst all of us. So we can each carry something big and important. And have those moments of connection that might teach somebody, that might connect us to somebody. And ultimately create the greater webs of connection that exist with us and everything around us. Whether our relationship to nature, to each other, to the animals, to technology, and beyond. Bring your palms together at this chest, thumbs touching the sternum. Blow them shortly 3 times and begin. Take a breath. Oh. Flex your feet. Oh. Shoulders down, ribs up. Oh. Bow your head for a moment. Salute the essence of yoga inside yourself. Bring your hands into the lap. Let the head rise, the eyes open. All right, so nice to see everybody. Look, some more people snuck in. Awesome. People probably snuck out too, but that's, you know, that's the risk we all take. Hi, Chaya, Christy, Margaret, Pratima, Shubha, say you. All right, let's come to a standing position. And we'll do a couple warm-up standing poses just to get a little bit of inner groin to hip openness like we've been working on. And then we'll use that chair that I asked everyone to get at 6 o'clock. If you didn't hear to ask for that request, then you were late, FYI. Oh, don't frown. I'm not being mean to you. It's just the truth. So stand wide on your yoga mats. I'm glad you're here now, though. Aren't you? Stand wide on your yoga mats, feet 3.5 to 4 foot apart. Turn your right toes out. Turn your left toes in. Both hands on your hips. Rotate your upper body around towards the right side. So just as we've done in the past, we've talked about that internal and external thigh rotation. If you were here for class Thursday where I tortured Katie, or Tuesday, I don't know what day it is anymore. Corona's got me all messed up. Tuesday, where Katie was gracefully tortured on video. I talked about using the hands to move the muscle of the thigh itself, to not just twist from the joint. So take your right hand on your right thigh, grab it, and twist it to the right. That's your left. And then take your left hand back and go for your hamstring just below in the buttock area and pull that flesh around. So you're trying to train those muscles to actually do the movement. So once you've pulled those muscles around, flex them so they stay that way, bend your right knee into warrior one. Both arms straight up. Rotate your abdomen around, chest around, and go for lift. Just take your warrior one for a moment. And see if you can make your thigh muscles flex deeper and move them not just into a deeper bend or a hardening the knee, but can you twist the thigh muscle around so the bone starts to move? So your right thigh will feel like it's twisting to the right. And so you might feel like your right glute sucks into the left. Because if you flex your right thigh, your right glute has to flex. Same for the left. If you flex your left hamstring and thigh and twist it in towards the right, from around the back to the front, your left glute has to flex. And so then pick your spine up. Bend your right knee any degree deeper, just take a few moments. And remember, just like I said in the short meditative start, whatever you're getting out of this is your aha moment. Let yourself be joyous that if you feel something, you've got something. That you're connected to thousands of years of practice of this. But you are not alone. Because we've all got tight hips, hamstrings, and backs. Now, keep the right leg bent, keep your left leg straight. Stretch your arms wide. Rotate your left thigh instead of twisting it towards the right. Now turn your left thigh out away from your right so you roll your left heel into warrior two. Turn your upper body into warrior two. just like that. It's a very similar pose. It's just the only difference is that right thigh to hip rotation. So bend the right knee deeper, stretch both arms wide in Virabhadrasana 2, and stretch your left leg long. And then take a moment. Did your right thigh roll in towards the inner right heel? Probably. Take your right hand onto your right quad, grip it, twist the muscle so you feel that bone rotate, you feel the glute go under a little bit, and then flex it to keep it. Then stretch your right arm back out. And take your left hand, grab the top of your left thigh, front of your left thigh, I should say. Grab it, pull it back. So you feel the bone move back to the hamstring. And then flex it to keep it so you feel the pelvis open, and then arms back out. And just work the pose for a moment or two. Take a few breaths in it. Good. Rotate your upper torso to the right again, back towards warrior one. Stretch both arms up, but don't let your right leg straighten. Don't lose your right leg. Make that point of the pose so stable and strong that you can twist the whole of your upper body, but that right leg is in the pose deep and stays that way. So now rotate your left thigh and hip around. When you first rotate, did you move your thigh muscle first, or did you move your hips and knees and then wait for me to tell you the adjustment to go a little better? Take your hand, left hand on your left hamstring thigh, twist it into the pose deeper so you now are stable in those joints. And then stretch your arm back up, take your right hand down to your right thigh, grab it, pull it to the right deeper so you feel that muscle roll, you feel that bone roll, and then stretch both arms back up once you flex the leg. It's the same rotation on the right leg in warrior one or warrior two. The work will be, can you keep that right thigh in this action in both? So any movement your body does is from what I call the pole star or the base point of that thigh and hip. So that thigh and hip gets all this work in rotation because everything else is moving around it. Take your arms wide, rotate back to warrior two. When you do, don't straighten your right knee. Don't let your right thigh collapse. Keep that deep twist. Then you can take your left hand onto your left thigh and pull it back more. Get that muscle. Use your fingers to wake it up. Just as we use a block under our hands or something to help our hamstrings stretch, we can use our hands to touch the part that needs to move, to draw our focus and attention to it. And then once you feel it start to move, then you can stretch your arm out and learn to hold. It is easy to think that we have to learn to do these perfectly the right first time to do them at all. And I think that is a great misunderstanding of the difference between us and, say, a computer. Like I've said in weeks past, give yourself time in your practice to practice something different about the pose or to fuck up gracefully. Twist the body back to warrior one, but don't lose that right leg. Roll your thighs, move your thigh muscles. So take your left hand to your left quad and twist the bone first. Then roll your pelvis. Then stretch your arms back up. And you go, oh my God, how long do we have to stay in this? First time you do something, you learn it. The second time, you feel it. The third time, you do it. Fourth time, your teacher's an asshole. But I was saying before is that if we don't give ourselves the space to not be perfect in something, because we do all live in a world where we have to learn how to make computer programs work exactly right. We have to learn to drive exactly right to make it produce the thing we want. The human body is not like any of that. If there was an exact formula to X, Y, Z, your hip into perfect, I would have gladly already been selling it at HEB. The thing that you have to work on is finding your formula, and that takes experimentation. And while teachers are good at guiding you and might give you like a plus or minus or like a bracket of something, there's no perfect, there's no formula for you that anyone else knows. So feel free to shake and mess up and fall and swear, and got to give yourself time to mess up. Untwist, back to warrior two, last time. That's right, we're in the fourth time, the asshole teacher time. Rotate the thighs, make your hands move that muscle to learn it, to feel it. Give yourself permission to not be perfect in this pose, but to be you in this pose. And look at yourself. Look at where your knee and your hip are. Is your right thigh level to the floor? No. What is it going to take for you to get there? I can't answer that. That's going to be what you practice. Is your left heel pressing into the floor? Yes or no? No? Well, what's it going to take for you to do it? I can tell you just do it, like a jerk. Or I could offer pose advice, but you've got to think, what's it going to take me? What do I have to ask myself? What do I have to offer myself for me to do it? Your practice should not be born of a charismatic or totalitarian teacher. I know where I am. I'm waiting for the yoga revolution to come for me any day. All right, arms down, straighten your right leg, turn your toes in. Turn your left toes out. Two simple poses. Your legs are tired, your hips are working. Turn your left toes out. Huh? When you turn your left thigh out, turn it out with your hand, get your hand really in it. Hand on the right thigh, hamstring, rotate towards warrior one. And so you twisted your hips first, now actually get your muscle to do it. And then bend your left knee. Get that quad, that left thigh to roll out away from the hip groin. Both arms up. Shubha step wider. Pratama step wider. Chaya step wider. Lara step wider. All right, I'm just going to say everyone step wider. I don't care if you're on camera or not. The other good thing teachers do is we encourage you out past what you know. Remember, one of the chitti vrittis is a belief in the untrue. And we all have beliefs and things we say about ourselves. Good teachers are willing to say, you're just wrong. Take both hands to your thighs, right to right, left to left. Keep your left one where it is. Use your left hand to tell your left thigh to stay active, to stay rotated. Use your right hand on your thigh to move from that point across your right thigh bone, rotating back. And let your ribs and your low back follow the quad moving, and then stretch your arms out. Good. How's that feel? Open. Arms out when your thighs engage. Roll that right thigh back, Ms. Shua. You got it. Now back away from me, towards the wall. There you go, more of that. Yes, good. Now push through that right heel, make that leg strong. There you go. See how that left knee bends deeper? Good, you got it. Both, there, good adjustment of your spine. All right, right hand on the right thigh, left hand on the left thigh. Keep your left thigh exactly, keep it in that rotation. Use your hand as a reminder. Now use your right hand. Move the flesh of your whole quad thigh into the twist first, so you get used to feeling that movement. There's not as much nerve in that point, so you can use your hands on the skin to start teaching you what it feels like. And when you've rotated, rotate your core, both arms up, warrior one. Nicely done. Pratama, try to stretch your right leg straighter, dear. Miss Helena, interlace your fingers and turn your palms up to the ceiling to open up your upper back. There you go, that'll help free your neck. Miss Laura, bend your left knee and lean your chest back away from your abdomen. There you go, dear, that's an upright spine, very good. Christy, even though I can't see you, keep up the good work. Take a breath. Warrior two, hands on your thighs. Use your left hand to keep your left thigh where it is, and use your right hand. Move the flesh of the leg with your right hand. So you feel that flesh being touched, that muscle can work that's under the hand and move itself into the rotation. And then arms out when you're stable in the pose. So what's that? That's the third one. That's the second warrior two. Uh-oh. Halfway there. Both hands on your thighs, twist back to warrior one. I know you're all getting tired. Use your hands to move the muscle so the muscle moves the whole twist you're doing. And then once you're there, arms up. Notice that if you've kept your left leg bent and working this whole time, even though it's getting tired, now your right leg's probably getting more tired. Your back leg is starting to fatigue because now that muscle that normally doesn't get used to hold your body weight up is. This is very important. This is the stability of your inner thigh to your lower back. This makes your seated poses easier over time. It's that inner groin muscle that releases that makes your low back not allow you to twist or fold forward or any number of other movements. But this becomes a pose of endurance, but also of endurance of muscles that do not work a whole lot. So here we are. Take a breath or two. Hands on thighs. Rotate back to warrior two. It's the third one. There's one more after this. Once your hands are in place, everything's rotated. Stretch your arms wide. Hold the pose. All right. The first time you learn it, the second time you feel it, the third time you actually do it. Fourth time, your teacher's an asshole. Past that, I don't know. Not even I'm so cool today. But don't give up on yourself. Even though you may fall, you may need to rest for a second. Don't give up on yourself so that you get back in it. Resting and taking care of your body is not giving up. Getting out of it because it's hard is. But hands on the thighs, last warrior one, rotate with the movement of the thigh muscle under your hand. So use your hands, drag the flesh. Better on your hip now. When you've twisted, get your arms up. Warrior two. Use your hands under the thighs. Don't just flop to it. Put your hands on your quads. Your left hand keeps that quad right where it is in that same rotation. Right hand rolls the thigh open, opens the hips. Stretch your arms out. Take a breath. Been doing this for 12 minutes. Actually longer. We only probably more close to 20. All right, straighten your legs, bring your arms down. Oh. Grab a chair. If you do not have a chair, you can use just a wall for your foot. But I'd like for you to have a chair where you could put, or something where you could put your foot on two different heights. So if you have a couch nearby, you can put your foot on the lower level and then the upper back part of the couch. This is about exploring that range of motion and the twisting of the spine with extended leg and then bent knee over time. So you're just going to have one chair there. If you are sensitive of the foot, blanket, you can put, if you have a hard thing, you can put padding on it. That's okay. So you're going to stand in Tadasana about 2 or 3 foot away from your chair. We're going to use the lower setting. So if you have a couch, you're going to put your foot up on the couch, the padding. If you have, you know, you'll figure it out. If you have only a wall, you're just going to put your foot about the height of your knee. So Tristan's going to take her right leg and put her foot up on the chair with her leg straight. With her leg straight. Just like this. Yeah. So Tristan's, this is it. This is where I want everybody. I know it's a very tiny Dustin. Like a half. Just your right foot on the seat of the chair with your toes pulled back. Left foot still pointing at the chair, all that good stuff. All right. So starting here, it's really quite a simple form of the pose. It becomes a one-legged balancing pose, but it also gives us a couple different ways we can move and twist the spine to engage the back, free up the lower back, and continue to work our hips for our seated work. The thing that I would like for you to work on first is your standing leg, your left leg being straight in the sense of you're stretching the back and front side of the leg to push your foot into the floor. And you're lifting your body up away from the pelvis. So you're not kind of just slouching into it or forward. So place your hands on your hips for a moment. And if you look at your hands, if your hands are touching the same bone on your hip, if one hand is farther forward or back than the other, try to rotate to get them same. So probably your left one has to come forward or move back a little bit. And just work that for a moment, flexing the right thigh, and stretch the back side of the right leg as long as the left leg. So for many of you who are experienced, this might seem very simple. It is, in a sense, for the experience, but there's something to learn in it. The thing that you want to learn here is how you can engage the legs to extend and release your lower back for a twist. So from here, keep your legs active in this form. Stretch your both arms straight up to the ceiling. Twist to your right with your chest. Then stretch both arms wide like your left hand was going to reach for the right foot and your right arm is going out. Don't lean or twist. Your spine is still up tall. Your arms are extending out. Can you twist enough to align your left arm up with the inner right thigh? This is very hard because it takes a lot of upper back movement. But then when you do that, when you've twisted your upper back, look gently down at your left hip and notice how far your left hip has come forward towards the chair. No bueno. That means your left leg's done working. It's all on your back. So take your left hand onto your left thigh, front of the leg, and push it back with your hand. And now twist your chest more. Woo! It's hard, huh? So your left thigh pushes back and your chest does the twist to the right. So now your leg can't cheat it. Work your legs, stretch your arms out wide again, but try to keep your left leg in line with your right, your left and right hip in line with each other. Take a breath, untwist. Take both hands forward and touch onto the wall or chair near your foot. You can grab the top back bar of the chair. You can put your hands on the seat of the chair. I'm not super worried. And if you look at your hips for a moment, one hip has probably come up higher than the other. One, your left foot has probably stopped pushing down into the floor with the same action. That has made your left hip collapse. And then if you're really tight in the right hip, your right hip is crawling up towards your armpit. Keep your left hand on whatever it's got. Keep your right leg, left leg active. Place your right hand on your right thigh near your right hip and push down. Like you're trying to drag the flesh on the bone back and down into the glute. Now, stretch your right arm straight up to the ceiling and twist to your right again. So your chest starts to move towards the right thigh. Right arm up in the air, please. Thank you. Stretch them shoulders. Wake them up. Now, did your left hip come towards the chair like it did last time you twisted? Push your left thigh back. And now twist more with your upper back without letting your left thigh cheat you. I apologize. We won't say cheat. We will say without your left thigh being unchallenged. No one's cheating. My poor language. What? No, that's voice chat. It's true. Take a breath. Take your right hand down to the chair. Bring your body up. Keep your right leg on the chair. Stretch both arms up. Twist to your right, stretching both arms wide to the right. Arms wide. Keep your left thigh active, stretching long, push through the floor. Now stretch your upper body out over the chair as far as you could reach. That left arm reaching out. And then twist deeper. Take your left hand down to the seat of the chair. Take your right arm straight up. So you're kind of a revolved triangle action. If you want more, dun, dun, dun. There are chair legs running down long sides of the chair. If you want to go deeper into this pose and really challenge your right leg and your left leg, you take your hand on a chair leg and slide it down the chair towards the floor. I'm saying if. This is your a la carte moment. You can go, no, that's not for me today, teacher, and I'll be okay with that. Even Tristan's not doing it, so. It is a lot of challenge to your hips and back and your thighs. Oh. And your shoulders will work a lot. Bring your body up. Step your right foot down. Ooh. Step your left foot up on the seat of the chair. Left leg straight. So what does this have to do with seated poses? It's the same like flexion of your upper back, learning to make your upper back move so that you can keep your thighs and legs in their own actions, pushing through the floor, right? That action of what it is to lengthen our limbs or to flex our limbs and push down into the ground so everything above the limb gets the extension. This is the point that like when we sit in a pose that's seated and I say push your feet into the floor, this is what comes of it. You lift your spine, you totally change your hip. So now with your left leg straight in the chair, put your hands on your hips, touching the same bone. And if one hand's farther forward or back, even it out from rotating your thigh, pelvis, hip. And hold for a few seconds and see what it is to flex your right and left thigh and push it harder into the thing they're touching. See what that does for your body when you press harder into the thing you're touching with your limb. How much easier or more difficult it is to lift your chest, challenge your body upright. Take a nice deep breath. Stretch both arms straight up. And without letting your right thigh come forward, twist to your left any degree. Whole upper body twist towards your left leg. Once you've twisted your body around, stretch both arms wide. Left arm reaching behind you, right arm still stretching out towards the chair. And just hold this twist for a moment. Feel it, work with it. And then take your right hand to your right thigh, push the thigh bone back. Twist your ribs more, stretching your left arm out. And then once your right thigh is back and engaged, you're challenging it to stay in the pose, to stay the balanced pelvis. Twist your ribs more, and then stretch your right arm back out so your shoulders stretch away from each other. Untwist. Take both hands down to the chair on some level in a forward fold. Look down at your hips, make sure one hip hasn't come forward or both hips haven't lifted up somehow towards your ribs and armpit. Push down through the legs, re-engage your limbs into the contact that they have. Bring your body up. Twist again to your left. Don't lose your right leg. Keep your hand there as you twist, just to remind you not to let it come forward into the hand. It moves back away from the hand. Stretch your left arm back. Stretch your right arm out. Reach out over the chair as far as you can with your upper body. Don't lose your legs. Push through the surface that each foot's touching, and then take your right hand down and your left arm up. Full twist it. And then if you want more, you slide your right hand down one of the chair legs. It's if you want more. Good job, Laura. Good job, everybody. Good extensions. So it's interesting, when you take the leg a little lower, you get a lot more movement for your back. You get to start feeling how your legs want to manipulate, or your back wants to manipulate your legs. All the information matters, and then you act on it. All right, bring your body up. Bring your left foot down. And take your chair, turn it around. If you don't have to turn it around, I just prefer to. You're going to take your blanket, if you're using one, up on the bar. And you're going to put your right foot, your right Achilles tendon up on that bar, leg straight. If you cannot do this for any reason, it's okay to put your foot back on the seat of the chair. There you go, Ryan. Good job. Just work this. Now, this is about a 2-foot difference in height. They're about a 1.5 foot difference in height. So this is going to challenge your pelvis and your hips and your hamstrings and your focus a lot differently. So start with the thing where you touch your hands to your pelvic bones. Touch the same part of the bone with each hand. And then if they're not even, make them even for moving your hips a little bit. Nice little measuring stick. Your own fingers. Then flex your right thigh. Push down through the surface. Each leg is touching. And remember, your knees aren't touching anything. So there's no reason to push your knees rigid. Stretch them. Don't put all your weight and work into it. Push your heels down into the things. You'll find muscle flexing to do that. Okay. Yeah. Just even standing in this can do a lot for your back muscles and train your spine to lift. Get out of the pelvic bowl. So now, take your left hand, reach for the top bar of the chair. Keep your right hand on your right hip to help you twist. When you twist, twist to your right, push your right Achilles tendon down, and pull your right thigh bone back and down with the thumb. Move the flesh. But did your left hip fall forward? I don't know. You answer that one for yourself. You're in this. Like that teacher. Take both hands onto the back of the chair near your right foot. And from the forward fold, push your left thigh back, push through each surface the feet are touching. And you may not know how to press very hard in the beginning, but over time, if you just keep trying, the muscles will work. This is just the wonder of what you are. I can't tell you the specific X, Y, or Z to make it do it. You just have to do it, and it'll happen. If you want more, you take both hands to the seat of the chair on the inside of your right leg. It's way down there, trust me. It's a long drop down. Tristan said she's staying right here. All the way down and also forward. That's why. Take a breath, bring your body up. Take your left hand and reach for your right big toe. If you cannot grab your right big toe, you can grab the bar or you can grab the outer shin of the right foot. Take your left arm, stretch it straight up to the sky. Right arm, excuse me. Left arm holds the foot or bar, excuse me. Right arm goes straight up. Twist again. But when you twist, push through your left foot to stretch your right arm straighter. So you now connect the alternate corners of your body to help each other. Push your left or your right Achilles tendon down harder so your left shoulder can pull a little bit more on it. So these points are stabling. The left stabilizes the right, right stabilizes the left. And now twist, but keep those legs each stable in their action. Stretch your right arm out to the right. Breathe. Feel where you start to slack off the moment you breathe. Now that doesn't mean don't breathe. It means don't slack. Use your breath to make this the new normal. All right, untwist, step your foot down. Left foot up. Let's get through this. We'll do a couple seated poses. We'll continue our work towards full lotus. All right, left foot up on the chair. Work your hips, hands touch each side of the pelvis. Same bone. That's a hell of a glare. Re-level out your hips. Push through the surface of each foot. All right, that's better. No, forward. Take a nice deep breath. Huh? Right. Oh, right hand. Take your right hand, reach for the chair. Keep your left hand, left thumb kind of on the quad. Push each foot into its own surface foot so you can feel the pelvis work. You can feel the chest lift. And then twist, pulling your left hip back, or not your left hip, your left thigh, pull the flesh of your left thigh. Teach the muscle to guide the bone that way. And then turn your ribs into it. Breathe. If you can't grab the chair, you can grab the outer shin. You can reach forward something. So there's a slight forward movement. And for some of us, our hamstrings are just tight and just breathe. Good. Both hands towards the top of the chair. Whoa. Work each leg. Not pushing the knee joint, but pushing the foot down into the surface that it's touching. Stretch your heart outward. Then if you want more, you take your hands down to the seat of the chair. I said if. It's all your choice. Gives you somewhere to go. But if you can't get there immediately, work where you are. It'll help you get there, I promise. Right hand stays grabbing the chair or the outer foot. Right. Take your left arm up. Straight up. Push through the right leg, right foot to stretch your left arm ribs higher. Push through the left foot into the chair. So your right hand holding on to whatever it's got can pull a little bit harder. So they're stabilizing each other. Twist to your left, stretch the arm out. Twist first, then take the arm out. Take a few breaths. Your hand should be the height of your shoulder, if not higher than. Do not let it hang lower, or this will pin over time, create tension in your shoulder and your neck as you're rolling your shoulder joint forward. The hand being the height of your shoulder makes it harder to manipulate the shoulder to neck connection. Take a breath, untwist, come down. Move your chairs out of the way, grab something to sit on, whether a block, blanket, bolster, whatever you like. Have a seat. Here, face the chair. Excuse me. So sitting on your the support surface, take both feet flat to the floor about 3 foot apart. Move this camera. Your knees will be bent, your feet will be flat to the floor. If you were here for class Tuesday, Katie did this with everybody. Take both hands to the floor on the inside of your legs so you can press your thighs into your arms. Turn your toes to point forward. The foot is touching the floor, so push your foot harder into the floor, especially your big toe bone. Rotate your thighs in and feel how that when you rotate the thighs internal, your pelvis starts to lift a little bit. That is correct. Internal rotation lifts the sits bones, tailbone. External rotation pulls it under. Talked about this. Walk your hands out as far as you can, letting your chest come down between your thighs as best you can. But when you've gone your maximum outward, rotate your thighs in by pushing through the foot more. If you feel the bottom of your buttock lift towards your back, great, that's correct. This is a very good seated pose to do to release your groin, your low back, and your hip flexors. It is also uncomfortable. It is very uncomfortable for me because I feel how my thighs rub along my my muffin tops, my muffin oven here on my side. So it makes me talk negative about myself. So I encourage you to check your language there. And every so often, turn your toes in again because they tend to kind of turn out. And just work yourself out and down. A lot of this pose, if you want to start getting into some different, more challenging hip work, this one is the big one. A lot of the seated poses that can come in the work, not just like the basic crisscrossing the shins or stuff like that. Full lotus poses, a lot of the weird ones where the arm is wrapped through the leg and stuff like that. This variation of tortoise pose, Kramasana, very powerful for it. Take each hand, your right hand goes under your right leg and grabs your right calf. Left hand goes under on the inside and grabs the calf or Achilles tendon, grabs the leg somewhere, lower down. Push your foot into the floor. Bend your elbows so you pull your arms up into the legs and push your legs down into the arms to really stretch yourself a little deeper. So you can see Tristan's got her arm wrapped onto each side. So your arms are going to be fairly low to the inside of your legs. And then you just pull and try to pull your abdomen towards the floor. This will broaden your shoulders. This will lengthen your back. This will widen your hips. Not like, you know, I know for some of us, you know, I hear my teacher say, oh, your hips are going to get wider. I'm like, oh, no, thank you. Broader shoulders, yeah, that really got me hard. This will elongate your spine, but it will widen up. This is about widening the muscle away from your spine towards your side body. So take a few deep belly breaths and think about your abdomen lifting towards your lower back. your front muscle and chest bone lifting towards your back. So all of this on the back goes wider. Because the thing that holds us from getting into forward folds better, or even seated poses better, is the constant gripping of the back muscles towards the spine or forward. We need to pull the front muscle to the back muscle so that we can fold downward. There she goes. This is that thing you remember you talked about. How to get forward folds. So we can teach you that. Take a few breaths. Oh, we've been here forever. We're going to be here forever. All right, come on up. Bring your feet together and let your knees go wide. Baddha Konasana. All right, so when you bring your feet together and your knees wide and your sits bones and tailbone curl under you, notice what your back muscle has done. It is common when we get that level of thigh rotation external in the tuck for our back muscles to pull towards the front. This is again what I talked about, the thing we should try to counter. So place both hands on the floor in front of you, even just a little bit, or a lot, I don't care. And as you start to just lean forward slightly, think about if you had some invisible force here in front of you, moving the abdomen to the back, moving your rib cage to the back. Not shrinking your shoulders up to your ears, but whereas we push our chest out, pull your chest to the back body so you widen here. You know how like, you know, puff your chest up, puff your back up. Not shrug your neck up. I'm just saying, widen the back body. Get all Hulk flexed about it. So when you're pulling your front muscles to your back muscles, you're teaching your back muscles to release and widen. The more you learn to do this from the pelvis, the abdomen, the mid-body, upper body, the easier it is to fold into forward folds. Because when I do deep forward folds, like Karmasana, where my chest is on the floor, I'm constantly gently pulling my chest body up so my back body broadens. This is how you get your spine to release. So walk your hands out a little bit as you practice this. Take a few breaths, and every so often, think about that invisible force, drawing it back up. And we could detail every single muscle. We just don't have time for it. Just experiment with it. It's not about forcing your groin or pushing your belly down. It's pulling your belly up so your spine stretches over it. You know, in downward dog, they say lift everything on the front, or I say that, not everyone else does. Lift your abdomen, lift your thighs, lift your arms so your back stretches. Same principle. Feels good. Bring your body up. Take your feet wide again, back to Karmasana. Take them a little wider this time. Turn your toes in. Hands on the floor in front of you. Take a breath. Pull the front body to the back body. So it feels like your spine's lifting and everything around it's widening, and then go down and out. The hands are walked out in front of you a little bit. You're doing good. Nice. You'll know you're in the right spot because like one day your knee will be somewhere near your armpit. And then we'll work a whole different part of the exercise. Because when your knee's near your armpit, then we're just literally in your hip flexibility, and then you'll just be chest on the floor. It's actually quite interesting. No. Take a few breaths. And every third or fourth breath, check in. Draw your abdomen up. Don't shrug your shoulders to your neck, but lift your front body to your back body so you're widening from the lower spine, middle spine, upper spine, and then folding at the hips by pushing your feet harder into the floor. Bring your body up. Bring your knees together. Slide your left foot under your right thigh near your hip. Take your right foot to your outer left thigh, not on top of, but onto the floor. Do not twist your chest around on this. I want you to take your left arm and grab a hold of your right knee, either wrapping the elbow around or using your hand, I don't care. And instead of twisting like Tristan's starting to do, pull your knee deeper towards your armpit so you feel like you're picking your right hip up off of the bolster as you pull that knee across your body towards the armpit. Make the knee do the greater work. Because eventually, your hip and back will be free when you can get your knee to the back side of your armpit like that. If you have to twist your body to do it, you're going to just only manipulate your back and your pelvis isn't going to get to work. If you have a partner at home that's loving and you trust them, you can have them grab the knee and put their hand on your back and just pull on you. Look how much trust she has for me. Feel that, huh? How's that feel? Feels good, she says. That's nice. Then she leans up to it. That's fine. You're waiting to it now. But keep it pulled in. You will feel like your right hip's picking up off the bolster. That is true. And if it even comes up off the bolster, great. Then you have to shift your weight into it more. And it'll stretch, I promise. Switch your legs. Right arm, pull that left knee into it. Just use your arm strength and just throttle in on that bad boy. And it may not go far. But the more you just sit here and pull that in, the more you're going to get from your outer hip up into your back. You're going to lift your spine. You just hold. You will know if your back is tight. If you have an abdominal cramp here, I get really bad abdominal cramps with this, especially recently. I've sat in a chair a lot more than I have in my whole life at this point. What I've been teaching earlier about how you move your front body to the back body, the abdomen drawing in, the back muscles widening, that's how you get rid of a lot of that tightness in the abdomen. You think, oh, I'm just, as a very close friend of mine that I teach yoga to says, I don't like it when you stretch my fat. Like, we all got some stuff in the way. That is not the thing stopping you. The first person I ever learned yoga from was a woman that carried a lot of weight, and she could do things I still can't do. It's how we choose to move our body. You'll get pictures of Mr. Angar. He was not a CrossFit model, but yet he can move everything, because there was this idea of you can move and shift your weight so there's space. There's enough space for you no matter what, especially inside your own body. All right, let your leg go. But that's a different kind of talk. Lay on your back. Good job. You have some things to practice so we can get to lotus by the end of summer. Even if you can do lotus, you can do better lotus. All right, friends, lay on your back, have a savasana. Let your eyes close, tongue away from the roof of the mouth. All right. As you start headed towards that time, that space, your own dead heart. The deep breath in, the slow breath out. Give yourself the opportunity to connect to the work you've done and your own story that you have in this moment in time. And make sure it's the story you do want to share with the world. Is your story one of struggle or joy or whatever? Is your epiphanal aha moment one you've heard a teacher say or a friend say or somewhere else? And I challenge you, I encourage you, implore you to say it does not matter. That each epiphanal aha moment is the newest, greatest story because it is mine, and my life is the only life I have to live. And rest until I ring the bell. Enjoy the fruits of your yogic practice. Slowly increase the depths of your breathing. Bend your knees. Roll your body to the right. Slowly up and come. All right, until we meet again. Namaste. So nice to see everybody.